Hey losers, I'm Coral. Welcome back to my channel. I am here today with the books that I ended up acquiring in January. I did go to Barnes & Noble. It's been a couple months, I think. And I've got some new releases here and a couple gifts. So I'm excited to tell you all about these books. Starting with the new releases. First here we have Witchcraft for Wayward Girls by Grady Hendrix. Very excited to read this, but I decided not to read it next month. I think I'm gonna wait till March, maybe. Or maybe even April. Oh, this would be a good one for old school April because it takes place in the 70s. This is about a home for pregnant teens and young mothers, where young ladies used to get sent. Sometimes their families would send them to go through their pregnancy and give birth away from their home. What a fucking traumatic thing to do. And then I believe most of the time the children would be put up for adoption after their birth. So these young girls get a hold of a book of the occult and learn to do witchcraft, I'm assuming. So we'll see how this goes. I'm really excited about this, but of course I'm not trying to like overhype myself because who knows what's gonna happen. It's quite a long book. It's thicker than I imagined. It's gotta be like 500 pages. Then I also bought myself a copy of Onyx Storm. I've had this pre-ordered for so fucking long. This is by Rebecca Yarros. Luckily, I enjoyed the second one enough to read the rest of the story. This is still all caulked. When I got it, it was like, the spine was like fucking messed up, but I've been smushing it under some other books and it looks better. I'm a little bit upset about that. Also, I'm really glad that I didn't bank on being able to get a copy from Target because they had like this slightly different sprayed edges and people are going absolutely fucking bananas about it. My friend went on the day it was released and she's like, I didn't even go there to get the book, but I overheard groups of people complaining that there was no books, and she went like right after she must have dropped her kids off at school, right? So like less than an hour after Target opened. Anyway, that series is about a college for dragon riders, like a military college, and there's also a rebellion going on. Then I got this package in the mail and I was like, Zach brought it to me and he had, sorry, I have this floating hair that's bothering me. He had kind of, like, he doesn't care, obviously, if I buy books, but he almost had kind of like an accusatory look on his face when he handed me this package, and I was like, I didn't order anything. I don't know what this is. Like, for real, I don't. And I opened it up and it was 2 gifts from my friend Rachel. Thank you so much, Rachel. That's so sweet of you. So she bought me some things off my wish list. First was Rainbow Black by Maggie Thrash. This is a book that I think I'm going to save until April as well, for old school April, because it takes place partly in the 90s. That's at least when like the big conflict of the story happens, or like the thing that's the jumping off point for everything else, and that's that this young teen girl, her parents who run a daycare are arrested, and this kind of sparks a little bit of satanic panic in their small town, I'm assuming. And some of that has followed her into her adult years, and she, I think it seems like possibly people thought that she was either in on it or knew about it because she's had to like escape being the child of these people, kind of, you know, in society, and she feels like she's kind of come out through the tunnel to the other side of this kind of shit, but now things are happening again and I don't know what those things are. Like, I want to read about it and find out, but I'm super excited to read this. And then another one I've been dying to read for so long. This is Ghostland by Duncan Ralston. This kind of sounds like it'd be a good comparable read-alike for 13 Ghosts, because this takes place in a haunted amusement park where you wear like virtual reality glasses in order to see the specters. But what has happened? The specters have gotten out, and now who knows what's gonna happen. It sounds really cool. There's like this thing at the back that's like the guide to the ghosts. Know Your Ghost, a ghost hunter's guide to Ghostland. I'm wondering if I should read that first. Like, I kind of want to read that before, but then I'm like, will it have spoilers? It's at the back of the book. I don't know. I could ask around, but it just seems fun. Like, the font for the chapter heads is like kind of kooky looking. I know Duncan Ralston also wrote Womb, which is purportedly quite disturbing. So I don't know if this is gonna have stuff like that in, I mean, like, obviously not the womb thing, but like, is this going to be also on the extremer side of things? I don't know, but I'm very interested in finding out. It seems like it's gonna be really fun. Before I get to my Barnes & Noble books, I also found a used copy of a book I really, like, a series I really want to read. This is Shady Hollow by Juno Black, and this is a cozy murder mystery, which is something I never thought I would be interested in. However, this world is full of anthropomorphic animals. Is that the right term to use? They're not really inanimate objects, but they're things that don't typically have human thoughts and emotions and actions. And in this, like, they're animals. So we're following Vera Vixen, who is a fox, and she is an investigator. And there's been a murder of like a grumpy toad resident, and Vera's gonna get to the bottom of it. It just sounds like so nice and sweet. And like, they're animals. It's so adorable. And I just really want to read it. So I'm glad I was able to find a used copy of it. I've been looking for quite a few months and found one that's in really good condition. So yay. Okay, now on to the things that I've purchased from Barnes & Noble this month. We can start with Private Rights by Julia Armfield. I did end up reading this in January, and I liked it, but the end confused me. I thought her writing was really beautiful, though. This is about three sisters dealing with the recent death of their father, and they live in a world where it's just been raining for years and years and years, like every day, almost constant rain. When the rain goes away, people's jobs are like, pack up for the day, you can go enjoy the sun while it's out, kind of a thing. Raining so much that like some structures are lost to the rain, like gone forever, and people have had to adapt to this place where there are rising water levels and just constant rain. And really, this is very character driven. We're following the sisters who have like a not very good relationship with each other, and there you go. I also grabbed a copy of The Bog Wife by Kate Chronister. I just heard like only fucking good things about this last year. I kept seeing it and people were like, this was such a great like folk horror bog witch, swamp witch, bewitch in the swamp story. This is about a family who tends to a cranberry bog, and it says like it gives them everything they need, but the thing is that I don't know how often this happens, but they do have to eventually sacrifice the family's patriarch to the bog, and in his place they get this new thing, the bog wife. Except for that, now in this story, the bog has not given them a new bog wife, and so they're really not sure what to fucking do about this. So it sounds weird and like moist. Sounds like it's gonna be a real wet time, and like not in a fun way. And I grew up somewhere where there's winter and your pants are wet. The bottoms of your pants are wet for 6 months of the year because they drag in the snow and the rain. Kind of a time. These next two books here, I've been searching and searching for a reasonably priced used copy of, as I want to do with like every fucking book I want. But I've been looking and I haven't found any. And so when I went to Barnes & Noble and I found these books that are like kind of on the more obscure side, and they were there for me to buy even though they weren't used, I fucking bought them. So the first one here is Violent Faculties by Charlene Elsby. This is a novella from Clash. I've really been dying to get my hands on a copy of this, and I was blown away that I found this. I was really surprised that I found this. And this is about a philosophy professor who gets fired from her job. She is kind of upset about this, and this is what she does about it. She starts a series of experiments. It says she questions why it is wrong to kill humans, what is it about them that makes their lives sacred, and then attempts to find it in their bodies, their words, their thoughts, and their souls, seeking foundational truths with a knife in her home office. So, I mean, we can see from the cover of this chalk drawing of someone using scissors to rid themselves of their tongue, that it's gonna be a rough time, and I'm here for this. Then I found a copy of Lost Days by Brian Evenson. I don't know. I want to say Evenson. This is a disturbing religious story about a detective investigating the murder of this, it seems like it's probably a cult, like their leader, founder. From the synopsis, this leads me to believe that the guy investigating it might have at one point been forced into this cult himself and like is no longer, I don't know, but I've just heard really great things about Brian's work, about it being dark and disturbing and like real life horrific. And so I want to read it. I was so fucking excited to find this. It was the only copy of Lost Days on the shelf. There were like maybe one or two more of his books up there, but this is the one that I would like to start with. And I'm really stoked. I was so stoked when I saw this. Then the last two books here, we first have Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. This is a literary book. More on the literary side, I feel like this definitely has sci-fi elements in it because this little girl, Natsuki, has always believed that she is an alien that was dropped onto this planet. She just does not feel, I mean, she literally believes that, but then also she just like definitely doesn't feel like she fits in on this planet. And that's really all I know. The synopsis says something about like her having like a deep connection to her cousin and being an adult and going back to like a place where they spent lots of time in their childhood. But like, I don't know of the plot, like what happens, I don't know, but I really want to read this. I also am really interested in another book she wrote called Convenience Store Woman. That sounds really strange. It seems like she writes things that are a little bit strange, but in a, I think, good way. Not like strange horror strange, but also, I don't know. So I really want to read this. Also, it has a cute hedgehog on it. And then finally, I bought another Junji Ito collection, a short story collection, but this one is more themed, I think, than some of the other ones. This one, well, you know, I think all of his stories do kind of, like, he kind of has a theme going on, but this one's like a more, I don't know, why the fuck am I going on and on about this? It doesn't matter. This is about Soichi, a demented young boy, and his family. So there are stories about that. I get the feeling that Soichi is a recurring character in Junji Ito's work, although I've never read a collection that he's been in so far. So this is new for me. I love the purple spine on this. I also saw that Junji Ito has a kind of a memoir that he wrote, and I almost got it, but then I got this instead. So I'll have to go back and get the memoir at some point too. because it's kind of like a memoir and kind of talking about horror and I think manga as well. So it sounds really cool, but who could say no to this little face? Okay, well, that is the assortment of things that I got in January. As always, I'd love to know if you've read any of these, if you have any thoughts on them, if you have any good things or bad things to say about them. I'd love to hear it. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye!